Leuk dat jullie kijken naar een gloednieuwe video. Mijn naam is Daan. Vandaag gaan we de FNCS kijken in Party Royale op de big screen. En ik heb er veel zin in. En ja, laten we beginnen. En we gaan nu naar de big screen, de FNCS kijken. Zo.
Than comfortable to go out and not only get tags but look for confirmation. And one thing I want to note, we went from 91 players to 66 players in that nice little spurt there. So the Storm Surge are driving plenty of action and plenty of points being doled out, but it's all in the form of those eliminations because the placement points won't come through until we have our top 17 trios.
It's the same thing that we saw in NA East in their day one, which was a fantastic cast covered by Ozzy Antics and Monster D-Face. All those players in the NA East region were playing so tight to the chest. They were making sure that every build mattered and every peak mattered, every edit mattered, and we were seeing those crazy Storm Surge, or I remember like 5 minutes will pass and everybody will still be alive and up and running. As we've seen in the feed, Analyx gets a confirmation on Vettel, so Vettel, iDrop, and Stir6 are out. Benji is still cooking up right there, going against Carrot, a new star that kind of prop up on the scene in the FNCS Invitational as the coolest Carrot. But hey, I don't know how long you could be cool, man. It's time to heat up, man. I don't know what you got to do if you're the coolest Carrot, but now it's time to heat it up because right now the action is heated up as we can get a nice overview of Thomas HD and that trio who had a decent start. They pulled zone, and I really believe, and I'll get into it if we have an opportunity, I really believe that shifting that landing from Dirty Docks to Retail Rope is really affecting that Thomas HD trio.
Yeah, it makes it a little tough to be able to get out when you're used to a certain circumstance, but you can see utility being used as players with jockey position here on the fourth zone. And positioning in this zone is so important because the change for the next zone, the fifth zone, will then be our half in, half out. What that means is the new safe area will kind of cut around the outside, so players, rather than heading central like you want to for the first three zones, will now crowd around the outside for the hopes of pulling that half in, half out fifth zone, so then they'll get priority on the moving zones that happen afterwards. So zones 6 through 9 will completely leave the safe area for the new zone, and that causes everyone to be forced to rotate, and that's where high ground ends up being so important.
Here is our wild card trio who were able to get into with a very intense, super.
Hey, hier zit Benji Fishy in.
The world will not explain how intense that situation is. It is Rojo's trio, and they're doing really well here in the grand final stage. Sitting at the day, Deceptos, Patrick, and Hen, and we all know, just like Mongrel's importance to that trio, Hen is super important to Deceptos and Patrick. And Patrick goes down.
Patrick goes down again. Smash Dave again. You talked about it. Rojo, the World Cup.
Deze mensen in de FNCS zijn zo tryhard.
You can see SB Nate and then Bobo of Exalti as well. They came up clutch in the final moments yesterday, but now putting good pressure. And we talked about it. Hey, what's the difference between the first and the 33rd team in the finals? Well, they all get to play all 12 games, and it's a fresh slate once you get there. So all that matters is you got invited to the dance, and right now these guys have been very much so capitalizing on the opportunities and finding some great rifle shots. The angles here from these guys almost completely covered, and notice how they have the metal full belt cones above them, cutting down the angle on anybody else who might be or might even thinking about throwing shots towards them. So good effort there to convert into 4 points.
It's all about the acute angles right there. Everything matters, every moment matters, every knock matters, every confirmation and elim matters. This is what the intensity is of Fortnite competitive play, especially on the grand final stage.
Who's across from you 9 times out of 10. And right now you can see Clement and Floki Nakos were able to pick up an elimination onto Vidil and Fastroki's trio. So going to be able to snake away a point there and also avoid Storm Surge for that 5th zone threshold. It is 50 players, so we're right at that line. We are also at the line where placement points are about to begin to be doled out. So once we get into the top 17, Every single trio that falls will then be one more point. Then once you're into the top 3, there's an additional 11 points on the line. Third gets +2, second gets +4, and then the Victor Royale walks away with a big old +5 and whatever eliminations they can rack up at the end. And right now, we're seeing again good discipline here from the French trio, finding an angle, being able to put pressure, and they pull priority on this zone here. You can see their bottom right-hand corner. They have the white line, and everyone else is going to have to pass them if they want to head to safety, and they're going to begin to try and head upwards a little bit. Nope, they open that up, and they say, never mind, somebody's directly above us. We're going to stay on this low ground.
And here we are going into full storm rotations now. 6, 7, 8 are going to be outside of the storm every time this trio gets into the safe zone. And then 9 is the ultimate closing zone. We'll go all the way down to the entire screen is filled purple. But Nakos gets a big knock on Yanis on the same layers there as they're going to make their full rotation. And that is the power of having priority. You could kind of look back and they get X-Squeeze as well. So they're going to trade out when Nakos is going to go down, pick up the quick heal. That's a great benefit as well, being on the front side of the storm. You have the time to res, and they're going to barely get that res off. And now we're going to take a look at the chaos. You're going to have the low ground form up, you're going to have the mid ground form up, and of course, who is at height is always the question that everybody wants to know, because they're going to have the power position here to walk away with the Victor Royale. Savage goes down and gets fully confirmed in the feed. All the names are going to start lighting up here for a moment here, Sundown.
Yeah, now we have our placement points beginning to get doled out, and they're going to call taking over as we're into our top 15, 35 players remaining, but a good execution there coming through from Nakos and Co to get back to a strong 3. Now they're going to about face and start spraying shots. Andalix will also get confirmed by Blackie, so that's our second place team being taken down. We talked about Rojo and Co, but they will be no mo there as he gets taken out. However, Mongro, Tayson, Mitro, if the #1 team doesn't fall and gets high ground every game, this is going to be a race for second as they open up match number 6, just like they closed the rest of the day yesterday, controlling high ground and raining down the AR shots with nary a contestant in sight. So we're going to hop on board here with the French trio, who's continuing to work on the low ground. 4 eliminations so far. Nakos has the legendary pump as well as the bandage cannon, so good opportunity to potentially execute here in the late game and make some plays.
CRR stealth, Wolfies does get knocked, but it is an opportunity though for at least Clement, Floki, and Nakos to kind of close the gap as much as possible. Yes, already met.
It's from the Victory Royale. Match 6 closes out there.
In a blink of an eye, before you know it, a Victory Royale is accrued by Raxo and Co. We're going to need the breakdown from Zeke, Shayo, and Reese.
Jezus, er is veel gebouwd. Oh. Die mensen zijn wel echt
What we
goed.
got, Sancho, is day 2, and we have even more day 2 teams. This is what we were talking about at the very beginning of this show. Cammy, Artur, I cannot believe they find themselves the Victory Royale. Just for clarity, they came in and ended day 1 in 14th place. And now they're going to start day number 2 with the Victory Royale and eliminations. I'm so surprised, and gentlemen, we're going to break
last game, but they did not lose it all the way up to 6th. Yeah, and all the way from 6th down to 15th. There's been a few switch-ups here and there. Nate, Rojo, and Bobo move all the way up to 11th from 15th from what we saw before. Cooler, Robabs, and Blackie are getting that Victory Royale, but are slightly teetering off now, dropping out of the top 10 place. And Page, we'll see if they can bring it all the way back. Vettel, iDrop, and Stair6 also a trio to look out for that plays very consistently. And Falconly, Yaxo, and Skype, I love actually seeing their names now. It looks so clean in 15th place. 47 points, not too far behind the competition. Still very close for the top 15.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it when you can read the names, it's clear, and you can find the players. I love it. And all the teams that you're seeing here between 16th and 20, you know, most of these guys are really struggling with that early and mid game, in particular with Storm Surge. You know, these guys in this grand finals kind of lobbies, going for Storm Surge tags is extremely difficult, and your strategy really needs to be down. Easy Milan Chapix in 19th, coming out of Craggy, is really struggling with that right now. So hopefully they can figure out their strategy, get their points, and keep moving.
I think you missed it.
Absolutely. Throughout the
Dames en heren, leuk dat je hebt gekeken naar deze video. Dat was een duimpje omhoog. Vergeet niet te abonneren op de abonneerknop. En dan zeg ik tot de volgende keer. Later.